And welcome to VanderShark Wild Card Weekend. I'm your host, Stephen Vanover, here with Sharky. Thanks to Barley Forge. La Slancha.
Slancha.
All right, as we do, a toast to the Los Angeles Chargers' victory over the Baltimore Ravens. Let's dive right in. What's the story of the day?
We called it, and I'd like to go back to our pregame, and those of you who haven't seen it, make sure you go over and watch the pregame show that Van and I put out. Make sure that you hit the subscription notifications here, log in, and chime in on everything that we're talking about. At the end of the day, we talked about something at the beginning that was a big impact in this game for the Chargers defense, and that was that scrape exchange on the defensive front for the Los Angeles Chargers. Instead of playing a read, they are now instantaneously knowing exactly which gap to fill between the end and the backer there on the end of the defensive line. And they had a very, very successful day shutting down Lamar Jackson, especially in the first three quarters, Van.
And, you know, this is the story of the game. Lamar Jackson. When you review Lamar Jackson's stats and what he's doing, that is the game right there. Okay, I mean, that's what's going on. And if we can have actually somebody roll the big screen around to us so that we can see what's going on, we'd actually like to put up the play.
Sure.
Okay, and look at it and talk to it as we break it down. Rado, can we get some help over here, please? Thank you. All right. Yeah, can we put the play up? Here we go. All right, this is it. That's the scrape exchange. And you'll see Bosa is in his face. He waits as he goes around the side.
Very patient.
As we put this on a loop, it's an awesome thing to run. And he's very patient. And it basically, they weren't late. They were on time.
No, he knew exactly what gap he had to fill, exactly where he was going. He filled that gap perfectly, and then he read Lamar Jackson like he was supposed to. And although he didn't make the tackle for the sack in the backfield, he broke him up. He made Lamar Jackson make a move. He actually got hands on him, and that slowed him down just enough for that other linebacker to step in and make the tackle. Look at this.
And slowing him down is key because you're not going to stop him.
No.
They were able to slow him down for three quarters, 0.0% QB rating.
0.0. How'd that go again, Van?
0.0.
Quarterback rating through three quarters of football today. Now, he did show up in the fourth quarter. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this performance by Lamar Jackson, like we talked about, I think I said it, you got a successful campaign in the regular season, but you have an inexperienced rookie quarterback coming in the playoffs, and this is exactly what he ran into, was a veteran team that was ready to play him, a defense that knew what he was going to do, and they really shut him down the first three quarters of play.
They had a scheme and a game plan to stop it, and they followed it.
Let's look at something that Jackson does well, though, and that's called the broken play. When he drops back and he's got pressure and he makes a move, look at him, he's looking, and next thing you know, he fumbles the ball, but he's got the wherewithal to pick it up. Look where his eyes are. He is downfield the entire time, Van.
And that is why they stuck with him through three quarters, through four quarters. We were actually talking and expecting them to bring Flacco in. Plays like this is why they did not, because the future for the Ravens is with this young man.
Absolutely.
But again, you can see this is a broken play. We're talking how well he did. Did it go for much?
No, it didn't.
It didn't.
It didn't create any momentum for the team, but it was very good for you to see how talented this young quarterback really is, and I can't wait to see what he does in the years ahead. Sorry about that, Baltimore. You're going home. Our Chargers are there. Van and I picked it ahead of time in the pregame. Let's look at the Ravens right now, too. Another thing that's a big problem for this offense is fumbling. And we've got a play here that we want to look at from our highlights. And if you don't follow us on Twitter, make sure that you do. Sports Talk Line, follow Steve Vanover, follow Bearded Shark 77. And let's take a look at the Ravens' trouble hanging onto the ball today. This is Joe Dixon coming up the middle. And, man, the Chargers
active hands by the
have
Chargers.
Active hands. That's exactly right.
Hands. I mean, this all over. I got to give Lynn credit, the head coach. He has really helped bring both sides of the ball to this Charger team.
Absolutely.
Usually they have one or the other.
Right.
They have both. And the Ravens, the first half was totally owned by the Chargers.
Right.
All right. And let's continue to step through some of these highlights.
Well, let's talk about something that scared the hell out of Chargers fans and Chargers organization was Melvin Gordon going down on the third running play from scrimmage. Melvin Gordon goes down. This is not something you want to see.
I mean, look at it.
You do not. And guys' legs. Let's look at a scramble that this guy can do, and only this guy can do. He steps into the pocket. He's looking for the deep throw. He avoids pressure, and then he accelerates down the sideline, and then he delivers a hit. Not something you want to see your young quarterback doing very often.
All right.
But he delivers a hit on the sideline there. 17 yards on that scramble.
Okay, he's a QB. He delivers a hit on the sidelines. You and I are sitting there. We look at each other and we go like, I guarantee you the QB coach is going to be in his ear. What are you doing? Get out of bounds. Get out of bounds. Barley Forge.
Barley Forge.
All right, but hey, props to the kid. He was the real deal today.
Listen, he played well in the fourth quarter. He used his legs well in the first three.
His arm in the fourth, though.
His arm in the fourth was incredible, but I think that was now they're playing without any hesitation. Now they're playing without, they know they have everything to lose, so they're out there flinging it. And I think their offensive coordination changed a bit in the fourth quarter, and maybe they should have been playing that type of scheme the entire game, Ravens coaches.
Pretty much the read option was shut down the whole game. It never worked.
Van, who's our MVP of the game today?
Oh, that's really easy. The MVP that is so often picked on so many teams, the field goal kicker.
Yeah, Mr. Badgley. Hats off to you, Badgley. Nicely done.
A Barley Forge, hardy ho to the MVP
Hardy
of the
ho,
game.
Barley Forge MVP of the game, Mr. Badgley there at the Los Angeles Chargers.
The
Cheers
guy
to you.
was a machine. Okay, and basically...
Listen, the only field goal he missed got blocked. So technically, I think he was 6 for 6.
There you
but
go.
But really, he only ended up making 5 field goals today. Good Lord, he was the number one scorer on the field. He was draining him from what? Lee, what was it? He drained him from 21. Drained it from 50, drained it from 43, drained it from 37. I mean, the list goes on. This guy was hitting from everywhere. The only one he missed, like I said, was the one that got blocked.
He was the guy that kept him in the game. I mean, basically 3 points, 6 points, 9 points, 12-0.
12-0 because of him.
That would have changed the whole game if he had been off.
Absolutely.
If you don't believe us, look at what happened with Janikowski and the Seahawks. Yeah,
correct.
Exactly.
So let's move on really quick, Van. Let's talk about somebody that we picked before the game to be an impact player. Keenan Allen. This guy caught every ball he touched was almost a first down. And
shadow of your own goalpost.
Right.
This game could be going either direction. The Chargers need to get out from here, at least get room to kick, to punt. Instead, they get a first down.
Yep.
Phillip Rivers, pressure in his face, puts it out. What a pattern, what hands, what concentration.
He's a big receiver, and when he goes up tall and he catches the ball at the apex like that, you're always going to be successful. Very Megatron-ish when you go up and get the ball where it's at instead of waiting for the ball to come to you. And that's something that Keenan Allen is really good at.
But Keenan Allen isn't the only target that Phillip Rivers has to go to. Unlike the Ravens, he has his security blanket that's been with him since before Rivers to Gates first down was a hashtag.
It's a hashtag now, I'll tell you what.
It is one for now.
And Van, did we hit the nail on the head once again in our pregame show? Come on, man, give ourselves some props. We were talking about Gates being that security blanket for Phillip Rivers, and that's exactly what he was.
Whenever he needed him. And by the way, Gates was not the starter. He got near these snaps in the regular season.
Right.
Playoffs hits, anytime it's an important down, Gates is in there.
And he didn't have a huge stat line.
No.
But he caught the ball he needed to catch when Phillip needed him to do it in order to extend the drive. He was epic in most of those field goals because he allowed them to move the chains down the field.
But the other part of that contingent, you have Gates, you also have the field general Phillip Rivers.
Correct.
And the difference between a QB that ends up at, let's say, a 79 rating and a QB that ends up at 80 rating in the playoffs, it's plays like this one.
Sure.
Break it down for us.
Well, look, Phillip Rivers has got the experience. He's got the poise. He's sitting there in the pocket. He knows that his offensive line is going to give him the protection that he needs. And he sits back at a time he needs it. And this is a 3rd and 1. Most teams are going to try to rely on their running back here. Melvin Gordon was a little bit banged up. They didn't really trust Eckler to make that run. Yeah. So what do? Let's give it to the field general. Let him drop back and make this throw right there in the gap, just over the backside of the linebackers.
He changed the play 3 times at the line.
He did.
Looks off to the left without even turning his head, does a push pass right up the middle.
Right.
That's veteran stuff,
He's looking off cornerbacks. Everybody thinks he's going towards the sideline, and he ends up throwing right up the gut for a first down. And again, it's exactly that ability to extend the drives, even though this was a field goal game, which isn't exactly the most entertaining type of game. Yeah. It's a field goal game, but it was there because Phillip Rivers continued, and the guys we just mentioned continued to put them in the position that they needed to be in.
And they needed to, because on the defensive side of the ball for the Ravens, they were shooting the gap and shutting down the run for large sections of the game. Now,
absolutely.
They were able to run effectively, the Chargers were, but occasionally plays like this, right up the gap. And look, you're in the backfield. Melvin Gordon can't get going. He's going east-west there.
Yeah.
All right, that is not going to work.
Yeah, Onuasu had a wonderful game for the Ravens on the defensive line. He was involved in so many plays today. If we look at the number of defensive tackles today, Mosley, Weddle, these guys like we talked about before the game really showed up. The defense for
on
the
one
Baltimore,
wheel for Weddle.
Well, I mean, come on, you're stopping an incredible offense and holding them to field goals. The defense, I feel, Van, really did their job today.
Yes, I agree with that.
It was the offensive ineptness of Lamar Jackson in the first three quarters and that offensive coordination that they had going. Again, I think if they played the game the way they played the fourth quarter, if they played the first three quarters that way, this would have been an entirely different matchup.
But I also have to say the Chargers defense definitely played a different game in the fourth quarter. I saw a little bit of that prevent defense, and we know what that prevents, victories.
Right.
Okay. And it bit them quickly.
It did.
They lost some of their aggressiveness, but then again, he came alive. You can't take that away from him.
Well, there's another thing that the Baltimore defense and their special teams, to give them some credit, can do well, and that's block a punt. So we have a highlight here right up the gut, and guess who it is?
Oh, wow.
It's Javorius Allen. It's their backup running back shooting the gap up the middle on this field goal attempt, and Javorius Allen blocks this.
Little frustration coming on here now.
Absolutely.
Is it getting chesty? Because we're supposed to have this game, and the Ravens are saying, no, it's still a game,
It's
guys.
still a game.
It's still a game.
Unfortunately, you may remember, everybody that's watching right now, you may remember that just after that blocked kick, they take over and they go 3 and out. As a matter of fact, there was 2 sacks back-to-back by the Chargers defense immediately following that blocked kick. So you're like, wait a second, here they have something that's going to give them some momentum, and then all the air came out of the tires.
Yeah, totally. And how does this happen? How does a team, the Ravens, well-coached, one of the top defenses in the league, if not the top defense in the league, okay, how does it just implode like this? How does the team implode? Well, I think one play kind of brings it all together. And I have to give credit. The guy got the trifecta. That's not easy to do in any sport, let alone the NFL.
How do you get 3 penalties on one play?
3 penalties in one play.
Right.
All right. The guy gets the face mask, okay. Then he gets the hold. And then he illegal tackling. Hey, you're not allowed to tackle on offense, okay? You're not allowed to do that.
By the way, just to give you some reference point here, this was a first down. Lamar Jackson rushed for almost 23 yards on that play for a first down. He was going to extend this drive for the Baltimore Ravens. Staley, I'm sorry, man. How do you commit 3 penalties on one guy in the same
It's
play?
impressive.
It was really, really great.
And by the way,
there was a face mask, there was holding, and there was an illegal tackle on the same play.
There may have been a reach around at the
45-yard penalty.
May have been a reach around at the
bottom. Did he check his oil, Van?
Oh, and when he got up and told the referee, but I love him, it made no difference.
It made no difference. Yeah, no. We're buddies. We go way back.
And that totally changed the game at that point because the Ravens were starting to get a little bit of momentum, and it just didn't happen.
Once again, air out of your tires. Let's look back at the touchdown review because I think the referees got this wrong. Van, you agree with me? He is not down by contact. That ball crosses the plane. There's nobody touching him. Here's the ball crossing the plane as he's being touched down. Come on, that's 6 points.
That is a touchdown.
That's
when he
6
gets
points.
touched, the ball is on the line.
That's 6 points.
But now you said let's talk about the touchdown review. Did you mean that one or the one that came right after this?
Right, the one that came right after it. I mean, it was back to back.
There's another touchdown.
There's another touchdown.
2 of them actually on one play because you got this touchdown that he scored, Gordon, and then you have the touchdown that the Ravens scored on the run back. Which, come on,
102-yard fumble recovery in return for a touchdown.
Do you want to be that guy?
Sorry, no, he's tired. He's got the oxygen mask on his face on the sideline, man.
So the refs reviewed that one, got it wrong again because Gordon scored a touchdown, but they called it down on the one.
Down on the one.
And finally, Gordon just said,
Gordon banks it in. Gordon said, give me the ball. I'm going in. Nobody's going to touch me. Get out of my way.
That's it.
And there it is. That's Melvin Gordon at his best.
Look, guys, that's me crumpling up my notes.
Yep.
The game is over.
Yeah, it is. Chargers win. We called it. You heard it here first. Thanks for joining us for the pregame. Thanks for joining us here for the postgame. We're really glad to have you with us. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you ring the bell notification so you know when Van and I are going live and VanderShark's coming at you. Brought to you by Barley Forge. Meet us up with the pregame show coming up for the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Chicago Bears. Let's be there. Glad to have you. Sláinte Vá.
Sláinte.